Yeah. Comrade Tebulu, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Lance, and good morning to our dear listeners and also the viewers that are watching us on the Facebook and YouTube channels. Thank you.
It's always a pleasure to hold you, though we last hosted you a few months back.
Mm.
In general, how have you been? How is it going before we get obviously into our topic of discussion?
Thank you so much. Well, we have been good. We've
Mm,
been all right.
yeah,
Yeah, and I would say we have been exposed
mm,
to a lot of situations,
exactly.
economic, social,
Mm,
cultural, and otherwise.
yeah.
And it creates a very great platform and opportunity for us as young people to, view through what has been happening. Of
Hmm.
course, without forgetting the fact that we have been also active in Masaiti, as you are
Hmm.
aware,
Yeah.
and I'm sure it's a topic of another date. But allow me to send my sincere greetings.
Hmm.
Kubena Masaiti bonsabale tumfwa na tuma emitende ya chibe kuri
Mm.
bali ulu shine sha fwebo shine sha bulombe bonse, senior chief Chiwala, senior chief Mushidi, and not forgetting Chief Nkambo. I
Mhm.
send their my greetings na msekele ni mwane nati mitende mwane. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I want to start with this note.
Mm.
Obviously, the death of the former 60th late Republican president,
Mhm,
Dr. Edgar Chagwalungu,
mhm,
is what took center stage. I
mhm,
think for the past 3 weeks,
mhm,
we've been talking about this issue. There's been a lot of activities around this issue.
mhm,
Uh, Before we touch on it, let me get to take you back a little bit.
mhm,
When we were growing up, I
mhm,
think you will agree with me that when we were growing up,
mhm,
there used to be too much respect for
mhm,
the dead,
mhm,
for the funeral. I
mhm,
think I remember each time or all the time there was a funeral, even in our neighborhoods. I think as children and kids, we never saw that there was a funeral.
mhm,
Pane Badangfye, Much Banda.
mhm,
This time around, the funeral doesn't have that respect. Even the dead, they
mhm,
are not accorded
mhm,
that respect.
mhm.
What do you think would have gone wrong?
Great. I want to make mention
Mm,
that as Zambians, as
mhm,
Africans, we have a history
mhm.
where we are coming from.
Yeah.
We have a culture
Mhm,
which defines us as Africans, which
mm,
defines us as Zambians,
yeah.
and we have our heritage,
Mhm,
what we believe in as the best practical values,
mm,
which distinguishes us from any other culture, from any other person, and our heritage
mhm,
as Zambia is that we've upheld our cultural heritage. That is what we are known for in
mhm,
terms of peace and in terms of how uh, we govern ourselves.
mhm,
So now, agreeing with you to say, when we were growing up, when you are passing, okay,
mhm.
there is a hearse
Yeah.
or a vehicle carrying a
A
coffin.
coffin.
A long time ago, even if you are, a pedestrian, you would stop to
Mhm,
give, respect.
exactly.
Okay,
Mhm,
why? It is because of the the, the heaviness that a funeral carries,
mm, mm,
and also a symbol of, giving respect to
mhm.
a deceased individual.
Yeah.
So we have seen also that that really is what defined us,
Mhm,
giving respect, because a funeral is not a party.
mm, mm.
It is a whole different situation.
Yeah.
And lately, you would do you would we even failed to give way
Mm,
to
mm.
a hearse,
Yeah.
a vehicle carrying a body. It's because of the where we are now. We
Mm,
have begun developing certain cultures and the norms as a people. And we need to begin to look at ourselves and identify ourselves and know where we are really coming from.
Yeah.
If we are to define ourselves as Zambians, so this is as a result of a cultural decay. We are running away from our culture that defines us.
Yeah.
Of course, cultural practices have been subject to discussions. They've also been going, evolution, where there are bad cultures. For instance, when we do, when I die as a man and my wife is, made to get married to my brother and all that note, I think that is a bad culture. And it was debated to say no, we can't continue on this trajectory because it goes against the will of an individual who's being inherited, and also diseases that came about and others. But there are other cultures that will ensure that the moral fiber of society is upheld, and those culture is what we need to look at, focus on, and the custodians of those cultures, who are our forefathers, our senior citizens, our traditional leaders, the church, are the chief custodians of the best practical cultures that we are seeing to say people have opted to be quiet on most of those critical cultural practices that define us as a nation. We can't continue running a country as if it's a secular nation. It's a Christian nation. It's a nation that is built on cultural and values that distinguishes us as a people.
As a people, definitely. Anyway, this whole issue is also a topic on its own, and probably we can dive deep into it because we'll probably be digressing from what we are supposed to discuss. Now, coming to the death of the 60th late Republican president, Dr. Edgar Chagwalungu, we've seen his death coming with I would say different issues or different things altogether. First of all, his death was announced by the family as opposed to the state. The state just followed through, and then also. As we know, he's supposed to be accorded a state funeral, which, of course, 7 days was declared. And then after 2 impasses, we saw an extension, but then another impasse was reached, and we've reached to a level where this issue is now in court. But then you and me are young people. We are a generation that's looking at democratically taking over power from those that are in power now. How does this look onto us, and what is happening now? Is it normal? Is it what should happen, or what's the best way to go about this?
First of all, allow me to pass a message of condolences to the Lungu family, to the political party where he belonged as an opposition leader, and also to the state, to the government, as the former Republican president, 60th Republican president. I pass and send my deepest condolences. And it's unfortunate that we are here where we are because of various issues. But I'll be very frank with you. I'll be very, very, very frank with you, depending on how I have viewed all this situation. I thought it was mere politics, like belonging to different parties. But after the death of His Excellency, the President, Dr. Edgar Chagwalungu, I think really it makes very sad readings.
Yeah.
The events after that, there is a lot of hate amongst our leaders, and it is visible through their faces, through their
Actions.
actions, speeches, and also it really leaves much to be desired. But you see, where we come from, I feel where we come from. Me, if I fell dead today, I'll be buried in Masaiti at Chila Chansaka Farm, Shimona Graveyard, because all our forefathers. I just buried my grandfather last year.
Oh.
My grandmother lies there.
Mm.
My father's siblings, my cousins, aunties, uncles. That is a family grave. That is what defines us. And the status of Dr. Edgar Chagwalungu, who we all loved in this country, we can't throw him like an ordinary person. No, that is a king. That is a chief. When a chief dies, he has to be given and accorded the respect that he deserves. That is our culture. And it's unfortunate that, uh, regardless of how the situation was, regardless of the politics behind his death, people would resolve to, protest his burial and be interred in a foreign land. I think it's an opportunity for us young people to appeal to the conscience of the family and other leaders, the leaders that we look up to as young people, to rethink that decision. And that is why I feel government is on firm grounds to see to it that, we try by all means to secure a resting place of a king in the state of, Dr. Lungu, to be buried here at home. Those graves that we see at the embassy park, those are not mere graves. Okay. We have young people that are coming behind us, our children. They should be able to go and look at where their leaders are sleeping. That is how it is. So, regardless of the situation, the normal and best practice, as per our culture, is that we can protest quite okay. We can fight how much we want to fight, but we must uphold the respect that deserves a man of the stature of Dr. Edgar Chagwalungu, and ensure that he lies to rest in his homeland. We can't throw away a great statesman like that. That is very, very, very unfortunate. So we're appealing to the conscience of our leaders. We're appealing to the conscience of the former First family to reconsider, for the sake of us young people, for the sake of the generations to come, and for the sake of those that believed in Edgar Chagwalungu when he was their lawyer, when he was, their neighbor in the community, when he was their member of parliament, when he was their minister, and finally, when he was their president, to see to it that he comes back home and be accorded the respect that a chief deserves in the stature of Dr. Lungu. But then I will not shy away from saying that I'm worried as a young people with the way politics is being conducted today, and it leaves much to be desired. Truly, it leaves much to be desired, because you see, in as much as we have politics,
Yes.
in as much as we are political players in the game, we must. One thing I've one thing I've noticed is that there has been a deliberate, move by various stakeholders in the political circles not to give and accord respect to a sitting government. That is my view. Okay, we can debate how much we want to debate, my colleague Lance.
Yeah.
But if you are my leader, okay, at some point we have to come to the table and resolve issues, iron out issues. And when it's time to debate, when it's time to politic, we go back to politic. But one thing we have noticed is that our leaders are not respecting each other. Those that should respect those in authority, they are not doing that. And given an opportunity that they hold power, what will happen if others do not give them the respect that they deserve? So for me, I think we must begin to sober up as a nation, and we must begin to identify ourselves and look at the values that we have. As senior citizens, those political leaders that we look up to, let them uphold the moral fiber, let them uphold the cultural values, let them look at an alternative government, unlike what we are seeing today. So I think the funeral of Dr. Edgar Chagwalungu has been mishandled.
Do you think it has actually been more politicalized than looking at it as a social issue or an issue of, well, he is a former president and definitely funeral expenses, according to the Benefits Acts, supposed to be taken care by the sitting government because he's a former president, but rather it's been more politicalized than looking at it as a social issue where he was not a leader for a certain grouping of people. He was a president for all Zambians because all Zambians, if in fact most Zambians voted for him not only once but twice, so that he can lead them and take them to the economic emancipation that they really looked forward to. So the way this funeral has been handled, do you think there's too much politics into play? And like you had rightly said, didn't we heal as a nation or as political leaders when we saw the former president as well, fourth former Republican president, that is Mr. Rupia Banda, when he linked these two immediately after Dr. Lungu lost power? We saw Hakainde Hichilema and Edgar Lungu meeting, talking, conferring, and we've seen them even in other places, in churches, laughing, greeting each other and stuff like that. What is leading to all this halabalu?
Okay. You see, in life, there's time for everything. There's time for everything. And I think given an opportunity, regardless of the democratic rights that one is entitled to, we have to look at the bigger picture, the better good of society. And I feel we needed to give Dr. Edgar Chagwalungu time to rest because he had served his time. And as his handlers and those that believed in him, I don't think Zambia is in short of political leaders. I don't think so. PND. The best leaders are not those that are leaders are not in any party that had served before. I think we have vibrant leaders in this country that can steer the economic development, the social development, and other forms of development for this particular country. And the best thing we can do is that they say leave the stage while people are still clapping. Okay, so in as much as we want to point fingers at each other, I think all of us as a nation, we haven't done much in ensuring that we secure the rightful, state or status of a statesman. Okay, we haven't done that much. And I think there are also individuals that, for lack of a better term, I would say, wanted to live off or feed off, a great man like Dr. Edgar Chagwalungu. But that is a topic of another day.
Yeah.
It's a topic of another day. But I'll critically, look at a situation where on 28th October, okay, when there was a memorial of
The
President
pre-
Michael Sata, may
mm,
he so rest in peace.
mhm.
President Edgar Lungu declared to say, I have returned back to active
Active
politics.
politics.
Okay.
Mhm,
Previously, he had written a letter to government, to the state, saying he had resigned.
mhm,
And on that particular day, he said he had returned back to politics. And there's a law that prescribes how, you know, a, a former head of state, once you return to active politics, must do. Okay. You relinquish all the, um, uh, you know, all the entitlements
mhm.
that are accorded to that particular individual. Okay. And it's the law. It is the law that dictates that. But I think over and above, I feel that what is making most politicians want to live in perpetuity, we have seen some politicians today for 20 years,
Mhm,
25 years,
mm,
15 years, because of other motives, wanting to hold power in perpetuity,
mm,
which is very unfortunate. I think what we need to do as a nation
mhm,
is to also begin deliberately making young political leaders like yourself, like myself, like others, those that have shown interest, those that have shown a certain level of maturity,
mhm,
so that we have a smooth succession.
mhm,
Look
mm.
at the ANC, for instance, in South
Yeah.
Africa.
Mm,
It has been in power from inception
mm, mm,
to date. Why? It is because of, the succession, history. Look at Tanzania, for instance, countries, those that are democratic. I'm not talking about, political parties that have the, Wamuyaya kind of leader.
mm,
That
mm.
is retrogressive.
Yeah.
But we must begin mentoring young politicians to come and take over leadership when we are tired,
Mm,
to come and take over leadership when, we feel it is time to go.
mhm,
Unlike what we are seeing where we have leaders in perpetuity. I think that is not correct. The only correct way is that, be it in business, be it in the church, even in the church, there are pastors that want to die on the pulpit, you know. And when you die on the pulpit, you will leave, people to scamper all over.
mm, mm,
So our clarion call to our leaders, to all of us as a nation, is that
mhm,
we must begin to mentor ourselves so that when it is time for us to retire, when it is time for us to rest, when we are absent from providing leadership, it will be easy for young people of great caliber to take over and govern the country on morality, on principle, on integrity, and also on the fear of God as a Christian nation.
So now, I would love us to move from this issue, but let's move with this item.
Mhm,
Where we are at now, this impasse has reached heights
mhm,
where this issue is now in the courts of law
mhm,
in South Africa.
mhm,
But then, what really would be your call to the government and the family?
mhm,
Is it really that we do this, we go the court way? Why not just try and sit on the table? Again, we know this has happened
mhm,
twice, of which it looks like it failed.
mhm,
Probably let's try for the third time.
mhm,
Let's sit down on a round table and discuss this issue, discuss
mhm.
this matter rather, so that the former head of state can be given the much cried for befitted send off.
Okay. First of all, imagine what could have happened if government didn't go to court last week.
Oh, a burial would have taken
It would
place.
have taken place,
Mhm,
of course. And I think the right way to have dealt with this situation was to, have an injunction so that probably we could give ourselves time
mm,
to talk. I know when you lose a beloved one in a way that you feel was not okay, you have temper, you are hurt, you are mourning, you are groaning. And personally, I sympathize with the Lungo family because it's heavy. I sympathize with my 20 million Zambians. I sympathize with Mr. President Hakainde Hichilema because we needed to have our grandfather resting by now. So regardless of that situation, I think this particular situation gives us time to reflect, to talk. No matter how hurt we are, at the end of the day, we are still brothers. We are still family as a Zambian. And my sincere hope and prayer is that we could come down and have a proper discussion as family. What, scatters us, what brings us together is greater than what divides us. And what brings us together is Ubuntu, Owina Zambia. That is what brings us together. The status of His Excellency, Dr. Edgar Chagwa as having served, as having held instruments of power for this country is what brings us together. So we should relook at that situation before even, the 3rd and 4th of July. Probably my prayer and hope is that we could come together. But then I also want to appeal to their Royal Highnesses. Their silence is loud enough on this particular issue. What is wrong? Those are our parents. I know there could be their Royal Highnesses that have, intervened. But please, Your Royal Highnesses, wherever you are getting me from, as your child, as your grandchild, we need you more than ever in this particular situation. Sit us down. We are your children. Sit us down. We are coming from somewhere. We have a heritage on how we rose. We have seen where, a husband has lost a wife and the family are ill-treating that. There is a way in which we handle those things. Please, we are on your knees. As the middle, aged youths that know where we are coming from, I'm appealing to the, moral integrity of our Royal Highnesses. Please use this time to sit at together as young people, as your children, not only for the purpose of this funeral, but for the purpose of how we are handling each other in this country in terms of politics. It is too much. We can't be insulting each other every day. We can't be insulting a sitting president every day like this, in this fashion. It is un-Zambian. It is uncalled for. And the best thing we need is that we need you to give us the biggest whip of talking to us as your children, for the sake of posterity and for the sake of the history, for the sake of the culture and the values that we believe in as your children.
And definitely, our dear listener, the number that you are calling us on is 0955 221515, to add your voice as well as to ask your question, or better still, to voice out on what we are discussing. Allow me to pick this call before we get to the next issue. Hi, good morning. Now, kabwino mwaka bwanji.
Bueno bwanji azogolere.
Atwandani? Sepiso. You have
kamba kukwanga mwenye kamliko ukaba mkamba buna maningi na konda veni kamba manje saino napo chikuru chiki moja kienda one decided waiona uja mutezofunza kumisha ona batiza kuyatoka kwa mbando mwana kakuta muzi utampasa ore but now na kutenzo mpaka ore muwanu medication tenzo muresa tenzo ufaka kuti nyodi of state zo mtukana bantu bali bose but kuri government zena chitapo maviona vija vote la siri kinangare bwanji ndimwe okuzungula ku state chance bakuru mbokuvutiani bana chimwe zine nabana mbokuvutiani bana kumbati yone parate kungaba ibana ingredient yanga ningafuna usebwanji kungenamo Wazona vitu. Ile si support ya DS kwa sababu PNDP, FDF na vena soko vena soko mtengo ifu na PNDP pa mpando. But vena mbosta mzazi, vena mbosta vimozi na vimo. Vimozi na vimozi, why? Wazona. Just kama kuni azuma zimkana kwa decide mwana kwa familia. Ya familia ngo isinga hapa kwa bisi mwenye pepa mbogo no kendia mwamba nani za mwamba na fansi na kenye. But see justice in cutting galepo. Family unite wa visimai unite wa vindivoipa unkana barungu wanankara kwamba nongapo maizi anga kwamba banamba niso vitani wanankara kukapani sana so drama zizenzo kufora zote zinzenda kuti tuma ngakanga ngogura do kukapana ngogura kuti wapase bana bao mafio na futi vitaka bananga meka mama nankana mama wapata kuti wakaenda kapani au tiba pata ka drama zizama foresa zote za muntu kakupata kwa maana kuti agure kintu kuti ukapata bapata kuti apase mpawa bana kangu ya president sitting president unakangiwa Tem coisa como caso área como a buraco filosofia na cara passa kapani kapakucha promotion na kupasa con drama but vote kama anapa sika na kubaya ngabe but ndio kama vote anamba but anasara point pande zingati vote siko viangana kwa hivyo but viangana vote vachanga itatuja mtu azonga zwana wake kana wewe yako ndio kubwa but vote vanasema pande viangati pesa drama zopika kuti kabla si ndio muri bana zake Tenta viangana vote funya visimai kuja kuzoona kwenda hospital
Vasepesa
Zicom.
I wanted to ask him a question, but obviously he wanted to go. So 0955-221515, 0955-221515. That's the number that you are calling us on. And then also you can leave us a comment. We are live on our Facebook page, 5FM Radio Zambia. Good morning. You are through to the program.
Good morning, my brother. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Mr. Chamala Alani from Zingalume.
Mr. Chamala, you can go ahead.
Thank you. Well, guest Murishani.
Weno shani wachama.
Na totela. Wakalamba, ilielo tuela ndapeli ya shina ngule mfaya waya shiro Edgar Walungu. Inenga Chamala, senior citizen of Zambia. I received this with a heavy heart. Number one, I'll speak out of my mind. The sitting president made a very big mistake. By ukula chuchunganyo muntu munankwe. He gave him instrument of power. No wonder Charlotte said, Mr. Kinde have won election. But Mr. Lungu has won the hearts of people of Zambia. That's a very great achievement, I'm telling you. Very few. But what came now, Mumaindi, Yakwa president, Ukula Mutuchunganya, Avutu Keko Lubilo Mwaitata. I could teach him attending our police because Kapoka cannot act with the knowledge of the president. Well, that's a lie. So let us learn to humble ourselves. As we serve the nation, we should not use it as a yardstick for punishment to other people. Lungu resigned, he said, not Sireka, but he was forced to come in. Umulando tutunganya family, umulando tutunganya bakashi, mwerontu wakwalesa. Are you going to honor a person, your mother tutunganya mufwa? Hypocrisy, stop it. Pretense, stop it. Lenga impasse tufike lelo. Mr. President, sir, learn to listen from people. Once you mess up things, this is what normally happens. Do not give a blind eye to whatsoever does a wrong thing. Arrest. Not UPND. They cannot both be arrested. You go for position. These are impacts which I would like to go in Jesus' mighty name. Thank you.
Vachama, before Tamlaya, can I ask you a question?
You are ready.
Okay, so now that we are per issue ya Marido, what would be your call both to the family as well as to the government? How should we resolve this issue? Here, let's add empathy. What should be the way forward?
The way forward. Thank you, sir. Number one, my family, ukulingana na wiwa mishirire ba Edgar Chagwalungu. Ukwebati, shirefwaya katika ukuisa mupe pino mubiri wanji. Chifuire chaba muli chochine. Na imwe bakateka nga mule umfwa. Bali kaya niyo munene wali kana. Chawa mamuli yako. Temu mwe ba festi bakateka. Chachika mufcharu au jwaiji. okabalanda kwati nchirefoyo y'omuntu wakese kuti mwatadedicate vice president munina nenalanga ati we don't run out of leaders. We have got vice president. So na papa tamushinali ya mfumu Yesu Kristo lekeni umubiri wise wakateka just stay put for the sake of peace in Zambia. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bachama Alan.
You're welcome, my dear brother. I would like to see Zambia. When I'm gone, I will say I spoke for the Zambian people.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Allow me to play this clip because I feel it's very much important, especially as we are discussing this thing. And then we'll we'll pick one more call, and then after that, you can respond.
5FM Radio remembers the late 60th Republican President, Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu.
If we have a nation comprising of families where people love each other, we would have a community in which people love each other. In the end, you would have a nation where people love each other. And all these instances of friction, violence, hate, foul language wouldn't be there. You learn to forgive, you learn to forget, you learn to cherish. Kachaba tuwezi tuitemeni kati mwane chile chine mundu pa chishinga chene tuwekala munga limunishi kala timwana wa ikatana. Zambia yonse pepele twala ikatana kule mfwana nomutende twa pantanshi tukubeta bati umugunda umubemba unikalubale umunsenga would be one Zambia, one nation. So speaking as head of state, I think that what mwana sana tabakachula hiyo abate mwana tabachula tabate mwana.
Definitely abachula tabate mwana. And of course, the late president preached peace. He preached reconciliation. He also preached about forgiveness and love. So I don't know why we do not want to forgive one another. Let me pick this call and then you get to respond. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, thanks. And how are you? Sorry? Kampongo. Wesley.
Yeah. Yeah, SOS.
Please go ahead.
Okay, problem in a minute now on a chair. But Edgar Lungu when they were president. Edgar Lungu anakambati imenabwerera mutani ma politics. So pamela anabwerera ma politics Edgar Lungu mnakambati tubafunika kutenga drama yao. Tukuba babwerera kutani bafuna futi kuti vainirire kuti munavaresa umuntu safunika kuchita bwanji safunika kuimirira saqualify so it means ndirama yao bezofunika kuvapasa dai safunika kuimirira futi. Hello,
we are getting you can go ahead.
Hello,
we are getting you can continue.
Yeah. Bezofunika kuvapasa ndirama yao kuba kuti munabaoza safunika kuimirira mayo. So loko baba kitunganya nende wao CNT imali konka demo zo munsi but loko baba kitunganya ndirama yao ikora livametiki kuti vote yao ati vanapa ndirama chani hawe tupuninga tuinkala toya. Yeah.
So parinkani ya maliro mkamba po bwanji.
Parinkani ya maliro.
Yes.
Inao amakuja bazabaleta tizabashikira kimusi zangari zopo kamba alakisi ya kutasa.
You are optimistic kuti bazabaleta. Ziko makwambiri. Anyway, let's get your comment. We have one other issue to touch on.
Indeed. I think from the callers that have called in, you can tell from their tone to say they are as deeply, hurt as any other Zambian that loved President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. And I want to take this opportunity to borrow from the late's words when he encourages us to look into the future, when he encourages us to reconcile, when he encourages us to love one another, to be peaceful. I think this is the moment in which we are. We have made so many mistakes as a nation, and the best we need to do is to reflect on the mistakes that we have made and look at the possible future. No matter how hurt we are as a nation, we all live here in this country. And this funeral, I feel, should bring us together more than ever.
It should unite Zambians.
It should unite Zambians. It should set a positive precedence on how we should view each other. Okay? So I'll not delve much into, we all know to say, yes, there were situations where the former First family had to appear before the law enforcement agencies. And that is an issue where people should explain themselves. Quite okay. But if people feel they were not treated properly, this is the best time to have a discussion. And it's the best time to see how we quickly resolve ourselves and put the man to rest.
Well, the phone never stops ringing, especially with the fact that we are talking about the former president, 6th President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. May his soul continue resting in peace. Let's quickly delve into what I would call the good news. Obviously, first thing we saw the deferment proposal from the head of state of Bill number 7. So Bill number 7 was widely spread as well as talked about by the government. They even started some consultations. So I'm told, I think I saw one in Central Province where the Justice Minister was getting views together with Transparency International Zambia. But then so many Zambians voiced against the introduction of this bill in parliament, or even talk about the proposed amendments to a few clauses in the constitution. The president, after meeting with church mother bodies, after meeting with over 12 CSOs and listening to some more Zambians speak against the introduction of this bill, he advised the Justice Minister to consider deferring this bill. And then following day, we saw a historical judgment from the highest or the apex court in Zambia, which is the Constitutional Court, in the matter of Munea Zulu and Celestian Mukandila against the Attorney General, talking about this constitution amendment not being right. The judgment was in favor of the petitioners. What does this entail? And then the deferring of this bill, what opportunity does it give both to the government as well as to the Zambian people?
Okay. We have gone through as a nation various constitutional reforms, and this particular constitutional reform is not the first one. It has. We have seen that as a nation, we've subjected ourselves to revise the constitution and fine-tune it to how we feel as a nation is the best of the constitution that will govern us. And looking into Bill 7, yes, there were I feel there are some progressive issues raised in the Bill 7.
Okay.
Issues that affect us as a nation. However, various stakeholders have raised concerns. And when stakeholders raise concerns, it means they're affected. They want to see to it that the constitution that they'll give themselves to, govern them is the best of what they've inputted. And the best thing to do as a listening government is to give stakeholders an ear. So I feel that there is more democracy in this country, and it can be seen by the actions that have preceded, these two pronouncements, the deferment and also the ruling of the Constitutional Court. I don't think it would have had happened, in other parts, in other forms where, an institution, usually goes against what government is standing on. So I think this shows, one, that government is listening to our concerns as citizens, as a nation. Secondly, it also shows the autonomy of the judiciary. It shows the autonomy of the judiciary. But I think this presents an opportunity for all stakeholders, those that were crying, those that were supporting, and those that didn't know and understand what was happening, to come together and look at how we can refine the provisions, the clauses that want to be introduced, those that want to be, amended, so that we can have a constitution that will stand the test of time. I think that is my comment on this particular issue. I feel the civil societies that were concerned about this issue. I feel the church that were concerned about this issue, and also, the state. I feel those of us that come from, Kanyafimbolo in Masai, in Lufwanyama, those of us that come from Ishitwe, Masaiti, those people that are coming from, Sinazeze, those people that are coming from Kwamatumbo, to be given time to understand this thing. And I think probably government should come up with a commission or an independent technical committee that will see to it that it is balanced. We have a balanced input. However, personally, I'm not against amending the constitution, because that is what we want. In terms of delimitation of constituencies, there are constituencies that are really, really, really big. They are too vast. Other constituencies are bigger than some countries in Africa. Just one constituency. So if we have more numbers of parliamentarians, more numbers of, constituencies, we realign our areas, we reduce them in terms of size. One, we'll see to it that with the enhanced CDF, we'll have more of CDF, we'll have more of other developments that government is introducing to the people through decentralization and other forms of socio-economic development.
Now, do you think Bill 7 was presenting an opportunity for the young people to take part in governance issues or to take part in leadership positions? And then, say, for example, instead of deferring this bill, it should be taken away. It should be done with completely. Probably let's start thinking about constitutional amendment next year or any other year. Does it take away an opportunity for a young person to democratically participate in democratic issues in this country?
Well, we had seen that there were proposals of you know mixed member proportion, and also that there were also proposals to delimit various constituencies. For instance, where I come from in Masaiti district, we have two constituencies, but we have Masaiti constituency in its own. It's a very, very big and complex constituency.
Okay.
And we would have hoped that through this law, we could have had, more constituencies within the area where I come from. So this in itself has really, having to totally forgo the constitution and consider it in future. It's a matter of discussion. We're in a democratic state, but then we have to be very honest with each other as a nation. Okay, the constituencies that we had previously, do they sit well with the population that we have? The answer is no. The population is growing, and as it grows, we need to see to it that we actually grow the number of constituencies. We grow the number of districts so that we try to narrow down in terms of the resource envelope that has to be allocated to that particular area. No matter how big Kawata constituency might be, for instance, in terms of the population, in terms of the size, they are going to receive 36.1 million. But out of Kawata, if we were to divide it into two, with the increased population, you'll find that they'll receive more. So our appeal is that as a nation, let's see how we come together. One, for the sake of the population that is growing, we need to be very honest with ourselves. Secondly, as young people, we also need to be given a deliberate advantage because we form majority of the population. And you can't lead, a majority of the population without having adequate representatives in there. So we hope and pray that we can have a very good and positive conversation out of this opportunity that has been presented by government through the president to see to it that we relook at where the issues could have been so that we quickly resolve those issues and have the constitution amended if it were.
What role and part will you play coming from Masaiti in, educating or probably informing the people of Masaiti about the contents of this Bill 7, since it's back in discussions or back in looking at how can we get widespread information, how can we have people more involved in this constitutional making process, and how can we get their views? What role will you play coming from Masaiti? And also, you are a youth and governance activist, meaning that you also speak for the young people. You represent young people in these so many issues. How will you also engage the young people to take part in these conversations and see on how best they can curate a document that will have them on an advantaged point?
Okay, first of all, as a youth leader in my community and also as a youth leader at national level, where we have a civil society organization, I think we are mandated to see to it that we explain to our people, the best practices, the best ways in which to understand these things. Some people don't even know what a constitution is. Some people don't even know their rights, and responsibilities. So I feel that this platform gives us an opportunity to engage more, and we are willing. Really, we are willing to see to it that with government, we sit around the table, with various stakeholders, we sit around the table, and then try to also explain to our people, especially using the local language. Some terms in the constitution are too technical for a layman to understand, and opportunity to use all forms of, you know, platforms to engage the people.
Yeah.
Starting from as far as Kashito Ward, where my young brother, Councillor Zimba, is a councillor. My brother from Katuba Ward, Lumano Ward, where there is my sister Diana, and so many wards. We try to engage the councillors. We try to engage the their royal highnesses. We try to engage the 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 headmen, Vasulutan Inefilolo. We try to engage them as well and explain to them. We engage the church. We engage the other, stakeholders, and explain bit by bit so that they can consent. Constitution amendment is not about people in Lusaka. There are so many people that are looking forward to have the constitution amended. Okay? But we get to listen more to the people in Lusaka. Those that just live in Olympia and go at an office in Rhodes Park. But then this presents an opportunity to have a conversation, to go deep down in Mugubudu, to go deep down in other places, including Kanyafimboro, and get to understand the input of people so that they have a say on this particular issue. So as leaders, I think we wait for the way forward from government, from the Ministry of Justice, to see how best we'll have, an all engaged stakeholder, engagement into this particular issue. But as youths, we are ready to support this process because it affects us and it presents an opportunity for us to put or to input certain provisions that we feel will advantage us as a young people. So as things stand, dear Lance, I think with the current state of the constitution, it leaves much to be desired for young people to be given deliberate advantage.
Well, Mr. Tebulu, thank you so much for coming through. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
And thank you so much to you, our dear listener, as well, for making time to be with us right here on 5FM Radio. And I've been yours truly, Professor Lance. Until next Saturday, when we have such conversations again, let's get to continue listening to the hype world of 5FM Radio.